Hey, what's going on there, YouTube? This is SEL0320 representing JVS and Jesus vs. Sin today, because this is actually going to be an album, not only review, but reaction. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be dissecting this album. Each song I'm going to listen to it. You can be able to like watch my reactions to the actual song, as well as like my first impressions right after that. And then I'm going to go and give you like my review per song. And I've never done it like this before. Normally with Jesus vs. Sin, I just go and listen to the whole album all the way through, dissect it. But I wanted this to be more of an experience more than anything, because I actually hold this artist in high esteem. This is Christon from Collision Records, WLAK. Now he's actually part of, he signed on to RCA Records with For Your Show with Kirk Franklin. And he's just dropped out his brand new album. I've actually had a pre-order for a long period of time. The name of the album is The Glory Album. I've actually been following Christon for a while. First was probably like the EP Body Art, which is really good. Then it was another one. It was Evil with Evil in Me. And then for sure his major debut on Collision, which was School of Roses. School of Roses was amazing. I still keep that in flux all the time. School of Roses was really different though, because it wasn't necessarily a Christian central one. Like it could be assessed that is a categorization of testimony. Like in the beginning, like he's a certain kind of way, and then he finds his way to his realization of his place with God and his relationship with God. And it was a really good album. Great singing, great rapping. It was amazing. You know what I'm saying? Even like his fusion with WLAK, their first album was amazing. Like, I mean, he's fusing to each one of them. But he's collaborated with artists such as Lecrae, Jay Givens, Andy Mineo, and he's becoming like a crowd favorite more than anything. And I was wondering about the prospect of this new album. Like, would this be more central focus with like a Christian undertone? Would it be kind of like a similar blend, or would it be completely just R&B? It was really left up into the air. So this is going to be literally my first reaction to it. I've already listened to about 2 of the songs, because when I pre-ordered it, I got the accessibility of being able to listen to, which 2 songs was it? Open Door, and the other one was, what was the other song? Oh, Conor McDees. And I'll when I actually get to that point, I'll actually show y'all like my first reactions in that one. But I'm gonna re-listen to it all over again for this review assessment. So hopefully you enjoy it. I'm about to start us off right now, and the first song is gonna be The Glory Part 1. So stay tuned. I'll be right back to check this out right now. Okay, so now I'm about to start this up, and the first song, like I said, of the Glory album that is just released out, and you can purchase right now on iTunes, Amazon, as well as you can go to ChristenGray.com. I think I'll also list down in the description bar below where For Show Yo, or I keep on getting Kirk Franklin's labels name wrong. You can be able to check it out also there. But let's go ahead and get into this, like how this first song actually stamps off for it. When I push the thumbs up, you'll know it's playing. I love how he does that. Like, he always starts to kind of talking riff. Like, I swear, like, the master version of his songs are always like that, where he's actually talking. So that ends that one. First impressions were, it was really classic feeling, specifically with the actual piano. It's more just an introduction into his world. But let's go ahead and go off a review from it. As far as my review of track number 1, The Glory Part 1, I think it was a good track. I think it was a good introduction. It was really different in the sense that I was thinking he's going to come really strong, really hard, up-tempo beat, kind of like he done with WLAK, a little bit different than, you know, School of Roses. But I think he took a really good subtle approach, because it didn't really give too much of where he was trying to have this go. But he did talk about the aspects of him trying to be a man and his progression of that. Like, not just from being a Christian man, but probably from being a dad. And even like how when you're trying to go through life in general, that you're trying to reach a certain plateau, And for his character, as far as lyrics is concerned, he's trying to get to glory. He's trying to understand the captivation of the glory of God, or maybe the glory of the destiny that God means for him to have. As far as the actual beats, as far as the actual flow of it, I think his flow is great. I mean, his singing in the beginning and the latter third act was awesome, but the reprise when he actually did the flow rap, I think he did a really good job with it. But he's got this really great gift that he can not only rap very well, but he can also sing. A lot of people compare him to Drake all the time because of that fact. But I mean, where his asset is that he's got a distinct kind of voice. And I actually really did like this song. So I'll probably give this song maybe like a 8 out of 10. It's a good introduction track. It wasn't too flashy, but at the same time, it didn't, wow me yet. So let's go ahead and see what's about to be next, which I think the next song is going to be Stop Me. So let's see how that's going to be. Yo, that was fresh. Yo, that seriously, that is a new anthem. Like, stop me, stop me. Oh, stop. Yeah, I thought that was an awesome anthem song. Like, straight up, like, I'm going to be probably putting this song on repeat. And if this is any foreshadowing of the rest of the album, like, I'm going to love the rest of the album because it's really Christian-centered in the sense of edifying the realization of us as human beings, and like our inability to understand where we need to be, because he touched on a lot of different facets, but I liked it. So let's go ahead to my review for track number 2, which was Stop Me. Lyrically, I thought it was amazing in a lot of different approaches because it went and touched on different things, such as like the female perspective of how they see themselves out there in a man-centric world, and how does God look in revolution of that upon them as women of God, as far as being queens, even like his prospect in the beginning, like he was talking about like how he was trying to proposition certain people in his life. And when he started talking about turn the mirror on himself and looking at himself, he's like, I don't like what I'm actually seeing, what I'm doing, what I'm motivated to be. And he even made this really cool lyric that flowed with the realization of like Neo being the one in like this intimate epic battle between good and evil, and it's really the same as that person that's actually battling. And I thought this was a great lyrical track. I mean, there's a lot of different quotes I can't even bring up. I have to really re-listen to this again, but every single time that I actually heard the moment, like it really hit me really hard. So definitely that's an A. As far as the beat, I think that the beat flowed with the lyrics very well. It was whoever did the production on this one did a really good job of keeping with his tempo, because in the style form of music and actually hearing him rap and transition between singing and actually having like a really good reprise, oh man, this makes this track almost masterful. And even like in my woofers and like actually how the production actually sounded great. So I think I'd give this track a 10 out of 10. This is probably one of the best tracks he's ever done. So that's definitely probably one of my first favorites so far. So let's go ahead and get it started, because the next track is featuring Knox. Wow! Bro, what was that? Okay, I don't know how to explain this. This might be one of the best songs I've heard. And I didn't even fully grasp the realization of it, because of the fact is that he masterfully belts this out. Like, he sings this. At first I was like, this is Jesse Smollett from Empire. But then I realized, oh wow, this is amazing. So yeah, that's my first reaction of it. So, oh wow. I'm trying to gather my thoughts. Alright, this is my review for the third song, FT, featuring Knox. What did I think about this song? I thought it was amazing. The lyrics are really strung out, because it's such a central theme of what if I give you all of me, like essentially. And the thing is about the way the lyrics actually going, it seems like he's describing relationships. And it's like, from my interpretation, it could go like, like you're with your girlfriend, or if you're a girl, you're with your guy friend, and you're, trying to pour out all your soul and your heart into something, you know what I'm saying? And the thing is about man's heart, like, it's vain, you know what I'm saying? Like, no matter how much you output, it's never going to be quite enough. But it's like, if you give your heart all to God, that's a whole different realization of what you're capable of, how he perceives you, how you can learn to love through your relationship with him. I mean, the thing is, like, the lyrics don't necessarily say that outright, but that's the vocals and the interpretation of how I actually received it. I mean, as far as the mastering of this and the way that it actually sounds is amazing. Like, his voice, he hits like certain octaves that I was like, bro, this is like music to my ears. Like, I'm gonna have to listen to this track again just to really internalize the lyrics better. So that's why I couldn't really give y'all a good enough read of what the lyrics really meant to me. Not just that I don't have the lyrics out in front of me. This is my first listening to this, but the song is amazing. As far as how it actually sounds, as far as my woofers and as far as the actual production of it, it was a great production. I mean, it started off really different, like more different than I really kind of expected. But I think that the turnaround, like at a certain point, like when you actually hear his voice accelerate, it just becomes something totally. That's the thing about music in and of itself. There's such a beauty about what music can do for you. It's like what you put in you is what's going to come out. Like, it's like if the lyrics meant that to me and what it came in, like, it is edifying to my spirit and to my soul. I mean, that's the thing. That's the power of music. Like, our wavelengths of our brains flow with the movement of lyrics and music. So, for me, this is a 10 out of 10. I thought that track was amazing. I thought that he could stop me, but gosh, the singing. Woo! Anyway, hopefully y'all enjoyed that review for track number 3. Now I'm about to go to track number 4, Afraid With You. I don't know who he was talking about. I seriously don't. That song is a beautiful song. Like, it's a really beautiful song. And it's talking about, all different prospects of this person, or thing that he's talking about. Like, he's not afraid of, he's not afraid of person being truthful. He's not afraid of the person being right or being there, always being, in abundance. It's like his fear of the way he loves it. Like, I don't know. Anyway, I did like the song though. So here's my review for track number 4, Afraid With You. The lyrics, like, they're left for interpretation. Like, I literally have to kind of come in, like, inside the song and try to feel it out for myself. Like, it could be 2 different ways. It could be that, he's talking about his wife and the prospects of he not wanting to come so close with her when, or his daughter potentially. Because those, like, when you're in love with things that, or people in general, like, anybody can fail you. Anybody can hurt you or harm you, you know what I'm saying? And you can create them as being your idols, and it's like your love for those things can outweigh your love and your realization for God. And that's one thing. But it could be that he's talking about, like, his love for God and his realization that God's always got his back. He can always be himself in front of God. And, like, it's hard to say, like, if he's talking about he's being afraid of the way that he loves God, if it is right, or if it's strong enough, or if it should be better, or if it should be more open, more intimate. I don't know. It's up for the interpretation. Y'all tell me in the comment section what y'all thought about the song. If you get a chance to go ahead and definitely check out this album, because it's been amazing. As far as the beats, as far as the melody, it's another solo tune with the piano. I love every single track he's on with the piano. I think they make great use of it. As far as the production and the sound quality of it, it was great. I didn't have any real problems with it. It's just the whole entire time I'm trying to internalize what this track means. I would say I give this track a 9 out of 10 just because I don't know. I was thinking at the very end, he's going to kind of say exactly what it was. He didn't necessarily say it. But I don't know, it still was a blessing to my soul, and I think it'll actually mean something to a lot more people. And probably the more I listen to it, I'll probably end up moving it up to a 9.5 out of 10. So I might leave it at that. Anyway, hopefully y'all enjoyed that. So now, the next song is going to be track number 5, 50 Shades. Wow. Oh, man. I I don't know what to think about that track. The thing was that I was sitting there like, because I'm a film junkie, you know what I'm saying? Like I was like trying to interpret like from the testimony or the story from the first half of it, what was going on, and then at a certain point it was kind of like a note where like Kurt Franklin's voice starts coming in, starts talking about, I guess, the moment that he decided he wanted to try to sign him and this, that, and other, and then it changes to like Christon Gray's prospect of moving forward, you know, and how to be a better man. The thing about it, it was like it was a little bit drawn out, a little bit too long for me. There was moments where I thought it could have ended and just moved into a different song. But let's go ahead and go through this review. So my review for track number 5, 50 Shades. Like I said, I like the track because it kind of felt like a really good fleshed out story. I just don't know necessarily if it was talking about like his parents or if it was talking about him, because there was a certain point where he was talking about when Chris came along. I was left to assess that this is his dad, and then his communication with mom. But then I was like, maybe it's talking about him. It was really left to interpretation. Another song kind of like that. I mean, it was really hopeful. I mean, it was really good in the sense of like showing like his progression before his birth, and even if it wasn't, if it was about his past, either way, it was still pretty good because there's some really powerful lyrics in it. It's just, to me, it was a little bit too long. As far as the beat and the sound, like, I mean, it was like a consistent one, and there was times where I was kind of feeling like a little bored with it. So I was waiting for somebody to say something. But then as far as I guess the actual rhythm of it, how it flowed with the lyrics, I mean, I think they flowed really well together. I think it's just drawn out way too long. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to give this one a little bit lower of a rating. I'll probably just give this one like maybe a 7 out of 10 or a 6.5 out of 10. Only because I feel like it should have been broken up. If it was only like, 2 tracks total, I don't think I would judge it as harshly. But like I said, I know this album's gonna be dope. And like I said, that's not really a really bad rating. But hopefully you enjoyed that one. Now the next one is gonna be Conor McDees, which I've actually done a review for that one. So y'all are just getting my reaction right now, and then my small talk about that, and then I'll let y'all look at my before review for this track. So here we go. Song is dope. I love that song. Like I literally have gone through that song over and over again already. From the beat to the flow of like the way he moves from like flowing really well from a lyristic standpoint, but then even when he sings towards the end, like he only has to sing like maybe 2 verses, and it's just golden. You know what I'm saying? This is one of the hypest songs I've heard in a long time. Of course, it's one of the first ones I actually heard from the album with the preview. But I actually really loved it. I mean, the lyrics actually really on point in the sense of this showed that this album, unlike School of Roses, was going to be really Christ-centered. I mean, of course, the title in and of itself, the Glory album, would make sense. I mean, you don't talk about glory unless you're talking about the Gladiators. This is definitely a realization that this is a specific motion for this actual album, just listening to this track alone. And it's actually carried really well as far as the progression of this album and going into this one actually being the 6th track. So hopefully y'all enjoyed my reaction for it. Like I said, you'll be able to see the review for that in just a second. So let's go for the review. Okay, so that was dope. Wow, we just ended that. My perspective on this song, Conor McDees. The beats were amazing. Whoever mastered the score for this one, like there were different moments where different parts of the sounds were hitting me at different times. Specifically when I thought the beat was going to drop, but really it went forward. And it went up tempo versus kind of drawing back into like a heavy burst of like waves. But it kept a consistent like dun 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 dun, and it kept it like that. And from mastering standpoint, from a sound standpoint, this sounds amazing, masterful. Dare I say, it's probably one of the best sounds I've heard, because I remember some of the albums that he'd done in the past. I mean, even with his one that I have, the last one that he did with Collision Records, it's still nowhere near as defining as this one was. Shoot, man. As far as the lyrics are concerned, it's gonna take me a lot longer to try to process them. I don't think I can listen to this song in just one turn because there are different points where he is rapping in different styles. Like it's not just like him going from interpretation of like the prospect of being this one entire like whole grip man of these prospects of things and worldly stuff to the end where he's talking about him giving it to God and holding back and letting him take the lead in a certain esteem. But even in the middle, like that whole entire riff was just amazing and really immaculate and very lyrical. But it was like, I don't know if it was just him up here. Like, I'm thinking it is, but there are moments where I'm like, are there other people that endorsed into this song specifically? But the song is dope. The track is amazing. And he just doesn't skip a beat, man. He's so talented. It's a blessing to actually witness and listen to, seeing where he came from versus actually seeing where he is right now. So I'm excited to listen to the next track. Hopefully y'all enjoyed my first rate reaction and thought process on this song, which was Conor McDees. I'll be right back for the next track. That was a really dope track. I actually really enjoyed that one. It reminds me of, like I said, it has 90s kind of flow to it. But back in the day, like DJ Haddon, that's where he used to go in, like Lost and Found. What was that other album? I think it was 21 Days. And even like Fred Hammond, like they had those tracks where it was just flowing kind of testimony driven songs, and that's definitely one of those. I actually really like that one. So let's go now with my review for this track, number 51, The Glory Part 2. I thought the lyrics were awesome because they painted a picture for me, an understanding of his testimony. I had no realization of the different things, the way he started describing. He started describing like his accolades for growing up, having like, you know, a love for people like Stevie Wonder, but yet same at that time, family members listening to like CeCe Winans. He's just really different, you know. Not that, I don't know if he was necessarily an introvert, but it kind of sounds like that. He was kind of set apart, you know what I'm saying? He always had this prospect and understanding of his love and devotion to God. At the same time, like his indifference in trying to elevate into musically, you know. And even like he made this lyric about like his, you know, pushing out the School of Roses album. And I actually really appreciate that, being a fan, that he said that is what I want to show y'all that y'all don't see about me. Like the issues and the turnings and things that y'all don't see about me. But then I woke up and I wanted to actually show y'all like how my evolution has processed, like how God has driven me, how he's consumed me, how he's driven me and put me in this place to be able to, you know, not only worship him in the utmost, but it might be edifying to y'all. And like from a lyrical standpoint, I thought it was really great. It told a really good testimony about him specifically, not kind of beating around the bush or anything like that. And even like talking tales about like his mom and the way she had an intricate part in that, not just being like an artist herself, but just from her devotion to God. Then as far as the sound, I love the sound. I thought it was like a straight 90s beat. It had a great flow, especially with his lyrics. And then even when he was actually rapping and transitioning between singing, like it just had a great reprise. It had a great replay value in and of itself. So I think I give this one a 9 out of 10. Actually really enjoyed it. So the next track is going to be Open Door. And again, that's another one I've actually seen, but I'll listen to it again. And then y'all will be able to get my review for it a little bit later on. So let's check out track number 8, Open Door. Dude, that track is so fire. It's good just explain it. Like, I love this song. I mean, in general, like, walking out that open door, I ain't looking back no more. I mean, for me, personally, I take that internalization of, you know how you get closed in from your past or being sucked into a situation that you know, like, you're not in your dwelling place. You're not where you need to be connected with God, you know. And then when you get out, like, you know, you ain't trying to look back. You know, you're moving forward. And I think that's the prospect of his realization of not just his music career, but his relationship as a man of God for his family. He even describes, like, his look and his view upon his wife and upon his daughter. And it just shares an interesting, bright light into where he's propelling himself, where he's allowing God to kind of guide him, even with like being connected with RCA Records. He doesn't necessarily say it, but it's like it's definitely different than where he was, in the place that he was. Another thing I have to say is that thinking about like with where he came from, Collision Records, I mean, WLAK was amazing. You know what I'm saying? Even like the Wake Up album with Swoop was an awesome album. But before it was good, but then at a certain point when I heard, you know, Christon Gray's album, you know, School of the Roses, and even like the one for Swoop, like it just seemed like really they could go either way versus being a focused, centered, like Christian themed like album. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so much more they could do, and I felt like they were gonna eventually get to that, you know, but it didn't necessarily where they were at. This one is definitely a huge step up, and it's like each track kind of reminds me of that. So hopefully y'all enjoyed the review. That's about to come up right now. Wow, that was actually really good. I don't know where, but I'm telling y'all, like I've actually heard that before. I don't know where it is. I feel like this song, like I literally have heard it either within one of his previous albums, WLAK album, something of that nature. I really feel like I've heard this song before. I just can't tell where I've heard it from. But as far as the flow and the score behind it, it sounds beautiful. It was a perfect kind of pitch to it, but his song resonates in such a way that there's beauty that comes out of when he actually belts it out. Even when he transitions into the rap and the chorus and the bridge, like he does a really good job of that just on his own through his own vocals. But it's a nice up-tempo beat to it. But it's like the problem that I have with it is I feel like I've heard this already. I think that's the only problem that I'm having with the song in general. But I don't really have a problem with it because I loved the song before. I feel like it's just been recycled. If it is, I wish that I could kind of identify where I've heard it from. But either way, it was a banger. I mean, that's definitely one of his better songs that I've heard in a long time. It's definitely been scored really well, just like the last song, Conor McDees. As far as the lyrics are concerned, like talking in reference to like his family holding him down, like him holding on to his representation of who he is as a man of God, and even just as a man in general, like how he interacts with different things on different levels. It's done really well as far as through the rap and through the lyrics of how he actually goes through it. I think that part of it is that I feel like this album is really him transitioning, especially coming off of Collision Records and going on to being with Kurt Franklin. Is probably a metamorphosis. Like I think that even there's a lyric in there where he reiterates like where he kind of came from School of Roses that he's still learning essentially. And I think that is what this album's gonna kind of be solidified under. But it's a really good song. A really good song. It's just I think that listening to it makes me ponder where he's coming from as well as where he's going. I think that's one of the main things that kind of resonates with me as far as this song. But definitely, it was a really good song. A really good song. I actually really enjoyed it. That was dope. I actually like that one. So that was definitely about wifey. That's about his babe. That's about his wife, and his relationship with her, and just his love for her. And I mean, it wasn't necessarily anything he talked about like his relationship with God, her, but it's just a beautiful song in and of itself. Like it definitely had this feel of. It spoke volumes of either Luther Vandross, Marvin Gaye, or even Michael Jackson. There's this one octave towards like I think the end. Definitely, like I heard Michael like incarnate. So as far as my review for this song, My Love Is Real, track number 9. I actually really liked it. I thought it was a really subtle transition because a lot of the Christian artists, if y'all don't know, like Lecrae, A&D, any of them, like they'll spend some time to really talk about who's second in their life after God is definitely their wife, their boo. And this is definitely a love song for his wife. The thing about it is because this album is so God-centered, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, if that was kind of in School of the Roses, which it was, It's kind of like almost like a kind of guilty pleasure kind of thing, but this is kind of like edifying of, because the central, everything around this album is all God centered. And to take a second to be able to acknowledge like the woman of his life that he loves, it speaks volumes about the album and the lyrics. And so just nothing but accelerates the review in my opinion of the album. As far as the actual track and the way that he sung it and the way it sounded, definitely had this, like I said, 90s feel to it. I actually really loved it. It really reminded me of a lot of old school R&B. The way that it actually was produced, I think there were certain moments that was kind of I don't know. It strung a little long and it kind of felt repeated in certain instances, but I still really liked it. Like, I actually really like this song. I'm just torn between giving it an 8 or 8.5 out of 10, only because like this is his wife's song. This isn't anybody else's. But I think if I actually did have a girlfriend at this time, I probably would give it 8.5, because I would definitely like, yeah, we gotta listen to this right now. So I'm definitely gonna give this this song to like my brother-in-law and my sister, who I love very much. They're highly in love. They love songs like this. So and I just said they're awesome Christians and men and women of God. So but yeah, I give it an 8.5 out of 10. I was gonna do that. So now the next song is gonna be Nowhere, track number 10. That song literally came out of nowhere. Like, the song, bro, just came out of nowhere. I mean, it's edification to my soul, y'all. I mean, if y'all don't know about me, you know what I'm saying? Like, I react to movies and TV shows all the time. If you really want to see me react, when I react like the most is when it's in worship. When I think about this song that gives testimony and understanding of my relationship with God and my reciprocation of that in the praise and the worship. It's just, I mean, that's where I react the most. That's like, I can't, it's something that I can't not do. Like, I came up, you know what I'm saying, with this realization that, I didn't care about my life. Like, I could have ended my own life, you know what I'm saying? And like, God was the one that restored me from that. So it's like, of course I'm going to react more when it comes to like worship and that. So just want to explain that for myself personally. Oh my gosh, I love this. I so love this. Anyway, so what is my review for track number 10, Nowhere? I'm going to be very biased that I loved it. It's a 10 out of 10. I don't say anything. No, I'm actually going to review it. As far as the drums, as far as the solo guitar, and even like the flow of it, like there's a lot about worship music that when you hear the bass and the actual the drums and the way it comes, like you can already interpret. If you go to enough contemporary churches or regular churches in general, or international churches that are non-denominational or not, you will know when a worship song is coming up. Like Hillsong, David Crowder, like I was thinking even Chris Tomlin, like they had that resemblance to the way that it was actually flowing with the way that his voice was. But even like the lyrics, like he's talking about the way that God just catches him up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, there's at one point in the lyrics he was like, I can't turn away from you because you never turned away from me. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I leave now when you're always there and you're always guiding me, always protecting me, always cultivating my heart to be restored and renewed in spite of me getting out of the way or other things getting in the way or the enemy fighting me. And I love the lyrics. I love the way that this was actually well paced. It just it's a worship album. And so, I mean, I'm going to be biased. I mean, you want to give it a 9 or 8 was fine. It's nothing less than that. But for me, in what I needed from this album, that gave something totally different. It speaks volumes of the fact that not only is this a God-centered album, but it's multidimensional. Like, there's a lot of different people who are going to take a lot of things out of this. Like, people are going to probably listen to this track, and like, if they've never heard worship music before, I will tell you that's what, soaking worship music that people like Ascend the Hill, Hillsong, so many other notable artists, like that's their fuel of fire. Definitely one thing I would say is Bethel Music is one I would highly recommend. But anyway, it's definitely a worship song. I give it 10 out of 10. Hopefully y'all enjoyed that review. And now I'm about to go to Blackmail. This is weird, change up. Number 11, this is just the interlude. So this is going to be a story-paced one. We'll see where this goes. Wow, gotcha. So Blackmail. Okay. So first reaction for that, I mean, it's actually pretty interesting. I found myself like more distracted than anything because I was trying to hear what they were saying, but it's not meant for that. So I guess going into this track to make sure you know, like, it's not meant for you to be an internalizer. I think it's the track that's actually next, which is track number 12, Blackmail, or quote unquote black male, like literally like a black African American or African American man. So I don't know, as far as like a review for it, I mean, I don't really have anything for this one. I mean, it was a good beat, really bass heavy. It used different pitches of going between different parts of one speaker to the other. I actually like that. It wasn't anything special. I mean, if I had to give it a rating, maybe give it like an 8 or a 7. Not anything big, but I'm really intrigued about where it's gonna go as far as the story is concerned. So, all right, let's get this started for track number 12, Blackmail. Got one more track after that. This is a really good track. The thing is about this track that I think that the message and the lyrics are better than the song. Sometimes that does happen where it's like you're listening to what they're talking about and really don't need like a melody at all. Like it could have just done that straight a cappella and actually sang it. It would have been kind of like more of a spoken word kind of thing, or kind of like if they would have done like a play on words or like literally like a play. I think it would have benefited the song in general, but it was a really good message. So my review of the track, Blackmail number 12, I would definitely say the lyrics are really strong, because it's funny that me and Joe, we did like actual video for our second channel, Jesus vs. Sin, where we basically talked about being black, being a male, and being a Christian, and how there's a lot of diverse things that come with that when you're trying to face the world. And it can be really hectic, it can be really scary. I mean, the imagery that they depicted showing like him and his wife, or somebody else and their wife, just African American or minority in general, coming up from a harsh neighborhood, trying to make it, and even trying to just get in the ring, like that's something that can be hard, period. You know what I'm saying? Not coming from middle class or even privilege in general. And then the prospect of like being like held up, like being detained, or worried about authority or fear of authority. I mean, these are things and concepts that me and Joe actually talked about. I'm gonna leave that in the description bar below. You can go and check that out as well. But it identified with me because that's what we talked about all yesterday, especially looking at things that are going on in the political scene, or even like just seeing people dying every day and being afraid of the law enforcement. It's a hectic situation, and I'm glad he addressed that in this one. I didn't expect that from him. But as far as the actual song is concerned, I didn't think it needed to be a song. I think it would be better as an open word kind of concept. But I think the message, like I said, was more powerful than the actual song. So I'd probably give it 8 out of 10. I mean, I didn't think the song was really, really bad, but I think that the lyrics and the message were so much stronger than what they were trying to come across as a song is concerned. That's my thoughts. And then the last song that's about to come up is Follow You, and that is track number 13. So let's get that started right now. It was a really good song in the sense of he's giving reverence to God for everything, like literally thanking you, following you, gonna give you all the praise and honor. Let me decrease in this moment so you can be acknowledged and increased. Because I mean, to be quite honest with you, like a lot of albums, what they do is like they'll go with all this, you know, vigor and blame, and just like try to like push it out really hard and come out with the high note, and then they might kind of nudge in like their relationship with God. But the last I want to say, since track number 10, have all been kind of like centered between like his relationship with God and his concept of God, and then his second love, which is his wife, or even like relationships in general. And I think that is a really good thing. So let's get into the review for this track. Review for this track. Number 13, Follow You. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was a great track lyrically. It keeps you with understanding and comprehension that he has a true love for God. Not just that. He knows that he's called by God, but at the same exact time, like, way he reacts and interacts with God is totally different than what he used to be, you know. And that's one of the things that's the takeaway from this, is that he knows he's going to follow God. He knows he's going to give him all the honor, all the praise, and take the lead. You know, let me decrease that you can increase in this moment. As far as the song is concerned, like, it wasn't anything different. Like, they used really great instrumentals in this one. I mean, with the drums and with the elevation, also with the piano. And I think it came out really well. I think that the only thing is, as far as the album is concerned, like, as a whole, it peaked because of the fact that, you know, like, it started off the gate really strong, and then, like, in this track, it kind of is, like, really somber, really slow. But I think the point of this last track being that, and not, like, towards the middle, is to express that this is God's album. So I definitely give that high esteem. So I give this track maybe an 8 out of 10. I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good one. I think that if you listen to the track from beginning to end, that this will lose its effect. But if you kind of just listen to this track coming out of church, or even like going into work, I think it will elevate your spirits. Just like track number 9, or track number 10, I'm sorry. But now, what did I think of this album as a whole? I thought that this album was amazing. I mean, from the fact of School of Roses versus this one, even though School of Roses is something that has listening appeal, like you can just listen to it because of how good it sounds, it doesn't have as intimate of a message. It isn't as daring and a change from album to album as this one is. Like, this one it gives straight reverence to God. Backs off of not only his testimony, he's not trying to preach at me, he's talking about the way that he relates to God now, the way that he is now, the way that he relates with his wife, the way that he is with his daughter, like, in the way more than anything, like how he's going to treat his craft and love of music moving forward. And I think that, like, the next album, if he does anything close to this, it's going to be just as good as this one. My favorite tracks definitely would be between number 3, featuring Knox. Shoot, I don't know. There's so many good ones. Afraid With You, number 4 was really great. Number 7 for sure. Number 51, and then Nowhere, number 10. I don't know what's my favorite one though. It's between those 4. Those are definitely ones. If you want to go ahead and purchase the album, definitely go and try to check out those. But this benefits from going from the beginning to the end. The thing is, you need to know in the latter end of it, it slows down a lot. And so it could take you out of the message just because it doesn't sound necessarily as up-tempo, upbeat. But the craft and the way that they actually orchestrated the actual songs, and even like how it's mastered, is done really well. I mean, I love this album, actually. I think that the more I get a chance to really listen to it, I'm going to listen to it a lot more, and I think I'm going to even love it even more. The difference with this one and other ones that I've listened to in the past is that I might be picking out key songs at different times. Like, I think the last, from 10 down, I might take time to listen to that by myself. And then, like, everything up, like, depending on certain sections, like, it's just like, these are hype songs, you know? So I was actually, you know, back home and in the prayer house, I would be probably playing one or the other, depending on the situation. So I think it benefits from that. So I have to give this album a 9 out of 10. I highly enjoyed it. Christon Gray, thank God for you and thank God for your life. And in spite of, you know, having to leave old friends and leaving Collision Records, it seems as though, like, you're taking a step in an amazing direction. And I love the way that God has, you know, groomed you to be able to sharpen this album in being so different. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard to sit there and say, like, is this better than School of Roses? Because they're just so vastly different. Like, I think the School of Roses is its own genre, catered more towards R&B. This is definitely an album that's edifying to the spirit as much as to, you know, your ears and your mind and your heart. So for me, I really enjoyed it. I give it a 9 out of 10. Hopefully you enjoyed this review and reaction. So basically, the ones that are going to be listening to the review are going to be on the Jesus vs. Sin side. So it's just going to be just the review. And then if you want to go over to the JVS side, you'll be able to get not only the reaction and the review, but you'll also be able to get everything. So hopefully you enjoyed that. This is SEL0320 signing out. Jesus loves you, so do I. Peace. JVS, we ain't gonna stop, but Jesus vs. Sin always.